The following demo is an illustration of how Symphonica can be used to provision SD-WAN services. As the diagram shows, we will be taking a service order from the northbound and running it through Symphonica to be decomposed through the service order manager and orchestrator to turn up two routers and establish a VPN between them. It's also possible, though not shown here, to orchestrate multiple SD-WAN controllers to achieve multi-domain service orchestration. The following will show Symphonica in a non-configured state, and we will start things off by sending a properly formatted order using Postman to simulate a TMF641 payload. So we can see the customer SD-WANX client has no service in the inventory, and this is the customer, the client that we are going to use for the demo. Using Postman, as we said before, with Postman we will simulate the VSS and we will carry out the following actions. One is send the authentication request to obtain a token, and once we have the token, we will send the service request service order. The service order that we will be sending is compatible with TMF641 and will be responsible for requesting Symphonica the configuration of both edges, activating them and configuring the channel between them. So that is why the service order will represent or will have 5 items. Items 1 and 2 to configure and activate the edge of site A. Items 3 and 4 to configure and activate the edge in site B. And the last, number 5, will be in charge of requesting Symphonica to orchestrate the configuration of the secure channel between the sites created in the previous order. So the service order might have dependency between items. In this case, the dependency will be linear between items. This means that the item 2 will be secured after 1, 3 after 2, and so on. So Symphonica, in addition to configuring each object, represents a control flow to ensure that all action has been correctly impacted in the SD-WAN controller and to validate that they are in the correct state. So let's send the service order. As we mentioned, we can see the service order sent for Postman under the SD-WAN client. And right now, item number 1 is running. So here we can see the service order. And if we check, it's in progress. And item number 1 is in progress. So if we clear and see the flow, we can find that the execution is stopped in the manual information entry activity. At this time, Symphonica is waiting for the installer to share the machine ID. The machine ID is the code that identifies the machine. So with it, Symphonica will be able to configure the site, in this case, site I. Okay, so Symphonica presents different colors in the execution of each flow. So to let us know in which step it is. So if it's green, when the activity was executed, for example this, if it's yellow, is the activity that is executed in this moment, and if it is black, it's the activity that has not been executed yet. That's why now the input machine ID is yellow, because Symphonica is waiting for us to enter the information. So in order to send the Symphonica the information corresponding to the machine ID, we can use the T-Chassis application. In this case, we will use the mobile application. We take the application, go to the stacks, and claim the task. Here we have the QR code already configured. So we are going to claim the task. You can see here the mobile application, and we are going to scan the QR code and complete the task. If we watch the flow, if we watch the flow, we can see that the execution continues executing and orchestrating the necessary steps to be able to configure the edge inside A. At the end of the flow, if we return to the execution status of the service order, we can see that item 1 of the service order sent is to complete and item 2 is being executed. So we check that. So when everything is done here, that we have here as marked as completed, we can check that Symphonica has created the edge device in its inventory as a CFS, its RFS, and the UCP, detailing key information about its characteristics. The information persists in the Symphonica inventory to be able to have a future reference of the installation. So here we have the edge, we have the RFS, and we have the resource. So sending a query to check the configuration made by Symphonica, we can validate the configuration made at the edge in the FlexiWAN page. So here we can check that the agent inside is configured, approved, connected, and syncs. So going back to execution of the service order sent, we can see that the flow has stopped at number 3. It's in progress. If we click see the flow, we see that the execution is stopping the manual data entry activity in the same way that we did in the order in number 1. We can also see that Symphonica is waiting to the technician to share the machine ID of the machine from site B. As the previous step, we will use the TechAssist mobile application to send Symphonica the information corresponding to the machine ID, scanning the QR code. So we'll do it faster. So here we have the second edge. We are going to back to task. We are going to claim the task and to scan the QR code here and complete the task. Okay. So at the end of the execution of item number 4, we will have both edges of site A and site B configured and activate so that item 5 can request the SD-WAN controller to create the tunnel, the safe tunnel between the two edges. At the end of the execution of item number 5, of the 5 items, we can see that the service order ends with a status of complete. So when everything is done, now it's in progress. And it's configuring the tunnel. So when everything is green and finished, now Symphonica is checking if the tunnel is okay in FlexiWAN. Everything is green. So if we check here, everything is completed, the service order is completed. And if we check the service, the inventory, if we check the inventory status of the 1X customer, we find that the 2 CFS edge and 1 CFS of the tunnel is configured. So that means that all the information generated during activation or obtained from the SD-WAN driver is persisted in Symphonica. Okay, so also we can see the relationship between CFS. And here we can see that the tunnel is formed or is conformed by this UCP. So all the activities that Symphonica has received and executed can be seen in Sentinel. This is the Sentinel. Accessing the platform, we can see information of the number of service orders received, platform efficiency, inventory status, number of HCFS and number of tunnels configured by Symphonica, number of order and average execution time, number of command and their average. So with this dashboard, we can see everything that was done in Symphonica, the number of orders, the time to complete, and all related information about this activation. So in this way, the demo for the use case of creating two edges has been run, one located on site A and the other on site B. In each of these sites, there is a machine with a Linux operating system on which the agent run and will form a secure site A to site B tunnel between them. This POC was developed in a couple of weeks thanks to Symphonica capabilities. The cloud instance was available in a matter of minutes, and following the MF service